Have you ever felt like your emotional energy is constantly being drained, leaving you questioning your sanity and wondering how someone could treat you so poorly while making you feel like you're the problem? If you've ever been caught in a cycle where you give endlessly and receive nothing in return, where someone else's drama becomes your burden, and where every day feels like a relentless battle, then this exploration is precisely what you need. It's time to reclaim your peace and break free from the insidious web of emotional abuse and manipulation, and we're going to do it with time-tested, practical methods. This comprehensive guide provides a roadmap to help you navigate, understand, and ultimately detach yourself from the clutches of toxicity. Relationships today, whether romantic, familial, or even platonic, can often become breeding grounds for toxic dynamics. We inhabit a world where manipulation is sometimes perceived as a legitimate strategy for achieving personal goals, leading to environments where toxic individuals thrive. These individuals are masters at depleting your emotional reserves, leaving you feeling exhausted, powerless, and questioning your own worth. However, it's vital to remember that they do not have absolute control over you. You possess the inherent power to rise above their tactics and reclaim dominion over your emotional well-being, a truth that the Stoics understood and emphasized centuries ago: control what you can, and let go of the rest. Drawing upon the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, this framework offers a proactive approach, not one of passive acceptance, but of taking decisive action to safeguard your inner peace and build emotional resilience. The first step in this journey of liberation is identifying toxic behavior. Take a moment to reflect on your relationships. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where someone consistently makes you feel inadequate, as though nothing you ever do is good enough? Whether it's a friend, partner, or family member, they seem to find fault in every little thing, constantly questioning your decisions while simultaneously portraying themselves as the victim. Do you find yourself apologizing, even when you've done nothing wrong? This is manipulation 101, a classic hallmark of toxic behavior. Toxic people are like emotional parasites. They subtly drain you, siphoning the life out of you until you're completely depleted, often without you even realizing it until it's too late. They are masters of the silent jab, the seemingly innocent comments that subtly undermine your confidence and erode your self-worth. Phrases like, "I was just joking," or, "Why are you so sensitive?" are red flags, designed to deflect blame and gaslight you into doubting your own perceptions. Playing the victim is a favorite tactic of toxic individuals. They will twist situations to make you feel guilty for simply standing up for yourself. How many times have you heard, "I can't believe you would do this to me, after everything I've done for you"? This manipulation is designed to erode your self-trust and lower your defenses. Recognizing these behaviors for what they are, emotional abuse, is the first step toward breaking free. Don't dismiss it as just a bad day or a simple miscommunication. Understand that it's a deliberate attempt to control and manipulate you. Once you see through their mask, you can begin to protect yourself. Remember this golden rule: if you constantly find yourself justifying someone's behavior to others or even to yourself, that's a major red flag. Healthy relationships don't require you to explain away mistreatment; toxic ones often do. Next, understand that it's not personal. This might sound simple, but it's a profound truth. A toxic person's behavior is rarely about you, it's almost always about them. Reflect on how often you've taken their words to heart, questioning yourself and wondering if you're the problem. They excel at making you feel like everything is your fault, but that's a carefully constructed illusion. Their toxic behavior is a reflection of their own inner turmoil, their own insecurities, and their inability to take responsibility for their own actions. Have you ever noticed how a toxic person will lash out when they're feeling insecure or stressed? Perhaps they had a bad day at work or are generally unhappy with their own lives. Instead of addressing their issues directly, they project that negativity onto you, making you the target. They'll twist situations to make it seem like you're the one causing the problems when, in reality, they're simply looking for someone to blame. This is where the Stoic principle of focusing on what you can control comes into play. We don't control the actions of others, only our own responses. Toxic people thrive on eliciting reactions. They want to trigger your emotions because that's how they maintain control. However, once you understand that their behavior has little to do with you, you can rise above it. You can release the guilt, the self-doubt, and the compulsion to fix them because, ultimately, you can't. You can only protect yourself. When they try to drag you into their emotional mess, remind yourself, it's not about me. You are not their therapist, their emotional punching bag, or their scapegoat. Their issues are their responsibility, not yours. Armed with this understanding, it's time to set clear boundaries. These aren't vague, wishy-washy suggestions, they are firm, non-negotiable rules that protect your peace and well-being. Toxic people despise boundaries because boundaries limit their power over you. They will constantly test your limits to see how much they can get away with. It might start with small things, like constant texting or calling at all hours, interrupting your work, or demanding your attention when you need space. Then, it escalates until you find yourself sacrificing your time, your energy, and your mental health just to keep them happy. You don't owe anyone your energy. Your time and emotional well-being are precious, and you have every right to protect them. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's necessary. You have to be able to say no, without guilt, without explanation, and without fear of retaliation. A simple but powerful boundary is to stop explaining yourself. Toxic people love to drag you into endless explanations. Why don't you want to do this? How come you're acting this way? Don't you care about me? They'll use guilt, manipulation, and even anger to make you justify your decisions. You don't need to justify your boundaries to anyone. Next time they try to cross a line, simply say, "This is what I need," or "I'm not available for that." End of conversation. The more you stand firm in your boundaries, the more they'll realize they can't manipulate you. Eventually, they'll either adjust their behavior or move on to someone else who will tolerate their nonsense. Another crucial aspect is mastering the art of non-reaction. Toxic people feed off your reactions. They push your buttons to get a rise out of you because they thrive on drama. Every time you react, whether with anger, frustration, or even sadness, you're giving them exactly what they want, power over your emotions. You have the power to stop them dead in their tracks. Stoicism teaches us that while we can't control other people's actions, we can control how we respond. Imagine being in the middle of an argument with a toxic person. They're throwing accusations, insults, and blame your way, hoping to trigger a reaction. What if, instead of engaging, you stayed completely calm? What if you simply didn't react at all? This might sound impossible, but it's one of the most powerful moves you can make. When you stop reacting to their nonsense, you strip them of their power. They can't control you if you refuse to play their game. When someone tries to provoke you, pause, take a deep breath, and think to yourself, "I don't need to engage in this." Say something neutral like, "I hear what you're saying," or "I'll think about it," and then walk away from the conversation. You don't owe them an emotional response, and you certainly don't owe them your peace of mind. Following this, employ the gray rock method. This strategy is a game changer when dealing with someone who thrives on chaos. Toxic people want your attention, your energy, and, most of all, your reaction. So, you become as boring and uninteresting as possible, like a gray rock. Every time this person tries to stir up drama, you respond with the dullest, most neutral response imaginable. They're expecting you to explode, to cry, or to engage in a heated argument, but instead, you stay calm, indifferent, and completely uninterested in whatever chaos they're trying to create. You give them nothing to work with. This works because toxic people feed off your energy. When you react emotionally, you're giving them fuel. But when you become a gray rock, emotionless, detached, and completely unfazed by their antics, they lose interest. They thrive on drama, and without it, they're left with nothing. Over time, they'll either adjust their behavior because they're not getting the reaction they want, or they'll move on to someone else who will feed their need for chaos. This isn't about being passive or letting them walk all over you, it's about protecting your peace by refusing to engage in their game. You're not giving them access to your emotions, and that's the ultimate form of control. The broken record technique is another invaluable tool. Toxic people are relentless, they don't take no for an answer, and they'll keep pushing you until you give in. Ever had someone try to guilt trip or manipulate you into doing something you clearly don't want to do? Maybe it's a friend who always expects you to drop everything to help them, or a partner who keeps asking for something you've already refused. These people are like bulldozers, pushing and pushing until you eventually cave in. Instead of getting dragged into an argument or trying to justify yourself, you simply repeat your stance over and over, like a broken record. Someone asks you to do something unreasonable, and instead of explaining, justifying, or debating, you calmly say, "I'm not comfortable with that." They push back, but you don't budge. You repeat, "I'm not comfortable with that." No emotion, no defensiveness, just calm, steady repetition. Eventually, they realize they can't break through your wall, and they either give up or reveal their true colors. This technique is especially useful in close relationships where the toxic person feels entitled to your time, energy, or resources. The beauty of the broken record technique is that it doesn't escalate the situation, but it firmly reinforces your boundaries. Toxic people thrive on wearing you down, but when you stand your ground with unwavering consistency, they lose their grip. Your boundaries aren't negotiable, and you don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your peace. Furthermore, it may be necessary to limit exposure to toxic people. One of the toughest truths you'll have to face is that some people are just bad for you. No matter how much you love them or how long you've known them, they bring nothing but negativity into your life, and the more time you spend with them, the more drained and unhappy you become. Toxic people are emotional parasites, they feed off your energy, your kindness, and your attention. You don't owe them anything, not your time, not your emotional energy, and definitely not your mental health. Sometimes, the most powerful move you can make is to limit your exposure to toxic people. Cutting ties or creating distance can feel difficult, especially if the person is a family member, a longtime friend, or someone you care about deeply. However, your well-being has to come first. If someone constantly makes you feel small, stressed, or emotionally exhausted, it's time to put some distance between you and them. It doesn't mean you don't care, it means you care enough about yourself to protect your peace. Limiting exposure can take many forms. It might mean seeing them less frequently, keeping conversations brief, or avoiding sensitive topics that trigger toxic behavior. If it's a coworker, it could mean limiting interactions to strictly professional matters. If it's a family member, it might mean setting strict boundaries around when and how you engage with them. You can still be polite and respectful while guarding your energy. Your mental health is priceless, and toxic people are not entitled to take that from you. To combat the isolation that toxic people create, build your support system. One of the most insidious tactics toxic people use is isolating you from others. They'll subtly, or not so subtly, undermine your other relationships, making you feel like they're the only ones you can rely on. Over time, they chip away at your confidence, making you doubt your judgment and distancing you from the people who genuinely care about you. This is how they maintain control, feeding off your dependency and keeping you trapped in their toxic web. You don't have to do this alone. Building a strong support system is one of the most effective ways to counter the influence of toxic people. Surround yourself with people who genuinely care about your well-being, who support your growth, and who respect your boundaries. Whether it's family, friends, or a community of like-minded individuals, having a solid network of support will make all the difference in how you navigate toxic relationships. Your support system should consist of people who encourage you to be the best version of yourself, those who challenge you to grow, but in a way that feels empowering, not draining. These are the friends who call you out when you're slipping, but do so with kindness, not judgment. They're the ones who respect your boundaries, support your decisions, and never make you feel guilty for choosing what's best for you. When you have a tribe of people who love and respect you, toxic people lose their grip because they no longer hold the power of isolation over you. The stronger your support system, the weaker the toxic person's hold on your life. Find your people, lean on them, and let their positivity reinforce your own strength. Furthermore, prioritize self-care. Toxic people are exhausting. Whether it's emotional manipulation, constant criticism, or relentless negativity, they have a way of sucking the life out of you. That's why self-care isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. Think of self-care as your emotional armor, protecting you from the corrosive effects of toxic relationships. Without it, you're vulnerable to burnout, resentment, and emotional exhaustion. Real self-care is about making choices that protect your emotional, mental, and physical well-being. It's about knowing when to say no without feeling guilty. It's about creating space for yourself to recharge, reflect, and recalibrate. Most importantly, it's about recognizing that your needs are just as important, if not more important, than anyone else's. Toxic people will never prioritize your needs. They'll always expect you to put them first, to sacrifice your time, energy, and well-being for their benefit. You have the right to put yourself first, to take care of your mental health, and to refuse to let their negativity drain you. This might mean taking breaks from social interactions, practicing mindfulness or meditation, or engaging in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. Self-care also means recognizing when you've had enough. If a toxic person is pushing you to your limit, it's okay to take a step back, create space, and focus on your own healing. Stoicism teaches us the importance of maintaining inner peace, and self-care is the foundation of that peace. When you prioritize your well-being, toxic people lose their ability to control you because you're no longer dependent on their approval or validation. An important realization is that you cannot fix everyone. One of the hardest pills to swallow when dealing with toxic people is that you cannot fix them. It doesn't matter how much you love them, how much effort you put in, or how many sleepless nights you spend trying to understand their behavior. You are not responsible for their healing. Toxic people are often stuck in patterns of manipulation, blame shifting, and control because it serves their needs, whether it's emotional validation, power, or simply a twisted sense of control over others. The more you try to fix them, the more trapped you become. You are not their savior. You cannot save someone who doesn't want to be saved. Stoicism teaches us the importance of focusing on what we can control, and you cannot control other people. The only person you have control over is yourself. When you stop trying to fix others and start focusing on fixing your own boundaries and reactions, you'll find freedom. You'll reclaim the energy you've been wasting on someone who never appreciated it in the first place. The moment you realize you don't have to fix toxic people is the moment you become free from their manipulation. It's not your job to fix broken people. You deserve relationships where you are valued and respected, not ones where your emotional labor goes unnoticed and unrewarded. To shift the power dynamic, use cognitive reframing. Toxic people have an uncanny ability to make you feel like the villain in their story. They twist situations, manipulate facts, and make everything your fault. It's not about you, it's about them. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control others, but we can control our perception of the world. This is where cognitive reframing becomes a powerful weapon. Let's say you're in an argument with someone who constantly criticizes you. Instead of taking their words to heart, you can reframe the situation. Their criticism isn't a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of their insecurities. By shifting your perspective, you take away their power to hurt you. You begin to see their toxic behavior for what it truly is, a projection of their own fears and inadequacies. Think about how often toxic people gaslight you, making you question your reality or sanity. Cognitive reframing allows you to take a step back and say, wait a minute, this isn't about me, this is their problem. When you mentally reframe their behavior as a reflection of them, not you, you regain your emotional strength. You stop internalizing their toxicity. Next time a toxic person lashes out, pause before reacting. Ask yourself, is this really about me, or is this a reflection of their own internal struggles? 9 times out of 10, you'll realize it's the latter. This mental shift is a game changer. Once you stop personalizing their actions, you'll find it much easier to protect yourself emotionally and stay calm in the storm of their drama. Finally, practice forgiveness for your own peace. Forgiveness is not about letting the toxic person off the hook, it's about freeing yourself. You are not excusing their behavior or pretending it never happened, you are releasing the emotional baggage that comes with holding on to anger, resentment, and hatred. When you hold on to that negativity, you're only hurting yourself. While you're seething with anger over how someone wronged you, they've likely moved on with their life. Meanwhile, you're stuck replaying the same painful memories over and over again in your head. That anger you're holding on to isn't punishing them, it's punishing you. Marcus Aurelius taught that we must learn to forgive not for the sake of others, but for our own inner peace. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting or excusing someone's behavior, it means choosing to let go of the emotional grip they have on you. It means you're no longer letting their toxic actions define your mood, your happiness, or your life. Forgiveness is about reclaiming your power. To put this into practice, start small. Instead of jumping straight to forgiving someone for a major betrayal, practice forgiving minor offenses first. Let go of the small irritations, the rude comment, the dismissive attitude, and see how much lighter you feel. Over time, this will build your emotional resilience and prepare you to forgive even the bigger hurts. You're doing this for you, not for them. Forgiveness is the ultimate act of self-care. When you let go of resentment, you free up mental space for peace, growth, and joy. Toxic people don't get to live rent-free in your head anymore, you're evicting them, starting today. Ultimately, you need to know when to walk away. There comes a time when you must walk away. It doesn't matter how long you've known them, how close you've been, or how much history you share. When someone continually disrespects your boundaries, manipulates your emotions, or drains your energy, you need to walk away. Walking away isn't weak, it's the strongest move you can make. It's the ultimate declaration of self-worth. Toxic people will try to convince you that you're the problem, that if you leave, you're abandoning them, or that you're giving up too soon. Don't buy into their lies. You've given enough of yourself, you've fought long enough to save a relationship that only drains you, and now it's time to choose yourself. Walking away is about reclaiming your life. It's about refusing to let toxic people continue to have power over you. It's about making the bold decision to prioritize yourself and your well-being. This is your life, and you deserve peace, happiness, and fulfillment. You cannot achieve those things while staying tethered to someone who constantly drags you down. You cannot heal in the same environment that's making you sick. If a relationship, whether it's a partner, friend, or family member, is toxic, it's time to walk away. Not every relationship can be saved, and that's okay. Walking away is not about giving up, it's about choosing to live your life on your terms. It's about creating space for healthier, more loving relationships to enter your life. You are not obligated to tolerate toxicity, no matter where it comes from. Walking away is not only an act of self-preservation, it's an act of courage. You're choosing your own well-being over someone else's dysfunction, and that's the greatest gift you can give yourself. Conclusion. In conclusion, dealing with toxic people is one of the most difficult challenges you'll face, but it's also one of the most empowering journeys you'll ever undertake. By applying these Stoic-inspired strategies, identifying toxic behavior, setting boundaries, mastering non-reaction, practicing forgiveness, and ultimately walking away, you can take back control of your emotional and mental well-being. You are not responsible for fixing toxic people, and you don't owe them your energy or your peace. You are responsible for yourself, and that is your greatest power. These principles will not only protect you from toxic people, but they'll also help you grow into the best, strongest version of yourself. You deserve relationships that nurture you, not ones that drain you. You deserve peace, and with these strategies, peace is something you can achieve, no matter how toxic the people around you may be. I hope that this comprehensive exploration provides the knowledge and inspiration you need to begin or continue on your path towards building better relationships and protecting your energy.